Hello, glad to be with you. And this is really a very, very important issue for all kinds of schools, whether it is municipal schools, government schools, private schools of all varieties, because nobody knows exactly how this is going to impact when schools open after this episode.
So what do you think? What are the precautionary measures that the schools would be taking, and is it practically possible where to have a social distancing where the little kids are also involved in the schools?
Let's start with what exactly do schools need to do. When children come back, let's say for argument's sake that schools are going to start on 1st of August. Children will be coming back to school after 4 months or 4.5 months. They would have stayed at home. The only thing that they would have been exposed to would have been online education. Most of them would not even have played with their friends, or if they played for a very limited period of time. So you are then releasing these children back into school full of energy and with a desperate urge to be with friends, run around, full of energy. What exactly happens at that stage? If we go by social distancing norms, a class which used to have 35, 38, 40 children will suddenly have 25 children. Half the furniture will go out. Children will sit in distances. The teacher has to maintain that distance. Especially if you have young children, they want to come, hug the teacher. Children will want to hold hands. So you cannot do any of those activities. You have to restrict children into specific areas.
Absolutely. So when we are talking about children coming back to school with a lot of energy in them and wanting to be back with their friends, how do you think the sports facility or the extracurricular facility would function in the challenge of having social distancing at the same time?
The only thing that you can do will be things which are not contact oriented. So therefore any sport or any activity which is contact based cannot happen. So you can have an art class, you can have a music class, you can have a dance class where children are distanced. But you cannot play football, which is a contact sport. You can play any game which does not involve children having to touch each other. The next question is, should children wear masks in school? Yes, they have to wear masks. Until we have some kind of exit available for children, they have to wear masks in schools. Where will they get water, drinking water? Parents will have to send drinking water. How will they interact in class? So let's say, if there are 35 children and you then say 20 children will be what is there in the classroom, what happens to the remainder? So schools are now talking about what we had earlier in Delhi of even and odd. One day 20 children will come, the next day 15 children will come. And if that happens continuously, only half the amount of teaching will happen. Because
sorry, I'm interrupting you on this. So when we say that there was going to be an odd even pattern kind of thing that would be probably followed the way it was in Delhi, like how the kids would come on day 1 and how the kids would come on day 2. And in this situation, how would we be able to cope up with the curriculum? Because the schools have already lost 3 months and they're trying to open up on the 1st of August. So in that case, what would the curriculum structure look like?
See, one of the things that we need to accept is that this is not a normal year. This is a situation which has never happened before. So the entire concept of having to fulfill the syllabus and curriculum of the standard variety will not hold. Okay? As it is, because we stopped in the middle of March, no assessment has happened for children. Government has decided that every child has to be moved up, no assessment. If the next year starts in August, you're almost done with 1.5 months in that academic year. So the focus should not be in trying to catch up on a preset syllabus or academics, because that's never going to happen. We need to redefine that given this much of a time, how much are we going to be able to handle? And if we do odd and even that is going to get reduced. Now there are many things that schools are talking about. Can I then say, I'm going to extend the time for the school? You can extend the time for older children. Can you extend it for smaller children? Let's say I add 1 hour more or 1.5 hours more, and instead of the school ending at 3 o'clock, I extend it up to 4 o'clock and add 2 periods more. Now, that looks very good from a school perspective because then it helps me cover up some of the portions that need to be covered. But what if I am a single mother or a working mother and I have one child in the lower age group and one child in the higher age group? How many times will I come to school? 30 to 40% of our parents come and drop the child to school. They don't send them by school bus. How many times will that parent come? I have to come once, drop one kid, come back, pick up the next kid, drop back. It will become like a relay race. So, if you want to synchronize that, then everybody has to stay that extra time. Next problem is, if you are only going to cover half the portion, then you must decide what exactly are you going to cover, because the remaining half uncovered will move into next year. You cannot just drop it. If you have not covered that portion, then it goes into the next year. Then you need a plan for next year that whatever I'm not covering this year, somewhere I have to catch up. So you need a catch-up plan for next year. Most importantly, from a school perspective, how do I budget this? I'll give you a simple example. Supposing you are a school with 1,500 children. You have furniture laid out for 1,500 children. And suddenly I'm removing half the furniture. First problem is, where do I keep that furniture? I don't have rooms suddenly for 750 seats to be kept somewhere. I don't have space. Number two, how do I handle teacher salaries? Do I recruit new teachers because there are additional periods to be covered, or do I pay teachers for doing extra work? So all of this starts affecting my budget. I have to follow certain protocol. I have to sanitize the building, I have to sanitize the furniture, I have to sanitize the toilets, I have to sanitize everything.
So talking about the teachers over here, as we say that, the teachers' salaries are somewhere on stake, or the teachers are pushed towards the digital platform, probably that's because that's the need of the hour. But do you think that our teachers can adapt to the digital platform really so well? Because they've been so used to having the student right in front of them and trying to make the student concentrate at that point is difficult. So do you think it is really possible that the student will be able to give in that kind of concentration where there's a virtual class being conducted?
Even right now, during this lockdown period, many schools are conducting online classes on Zoom. What exactly are they trying to achieve there? These are not classes which have been designed and set up for online delivery. It's the same teacher delivering what she would normally deliver in a classroom, delivering it on Zoom. But Zoom is a different kind of platform, or any online learning platform of that kind is different. So you need to contextualize it for that kind of platform. You need to have the right kind of content designed for it to be useful, or for it to become a platform where it substitutes what's happening in the classroom. Some of the schools are saying that if only half the syllabus is going to be covered, remaining I will deliver online. There is no study on the efficacy of that delivery or assessment of outcomes, saying that if I did half the syllabus the normal traditional way in the classroom in brick and mortar and suddenly do remaining half online, are children going to learn? What is the efficacy? Have I got anything to show that children actually learn? How much do they learn under that kind of condition?
So sir, on that note, what is that one message you would like to give to all the schools who are trying to open up during the first week of August, or who are trying their best to maintain this kind of social distancing? So what is that one message?
That one message is, don't look at today. This is not going to go away today. This is going to take a long time. This is a longer term impact that is going to have over the next 2 or 3 years. So prepare your school for the next 3 years, whether it is the delivery of academics, how you are going to deliver it, how you are going to distance the children, and also work on emotional support. Most important thing is emotional support for the children, because this is the new norm. Children will not be able to push and pull and jump and play in the school. the way they used to. So you have to then condition children into saying, this is a new way of life, you come back to school, but you can't, this is not the same school. The norms are different. So schools need to think this through. There is enough time to plan it for this year and next year and say, this is how I'm going to adapt to the new condition.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. It was wonderful chatting with you, and I'm sure our audience has also loved listening to your conversation as much as I did chatting with you. For more such videos and more such interviews, do not forget to log on to Education News Network. For now, signing off, Vivaraj. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.